Well, hello, dear Jordan Maxwell. How are you, my friend?
Well, I think we'll find out soon enough. I think I'm okay, but we'll find out.
Well, there is a lot of things happening here in Israel, because of the how can I say it? Because of the government and because of all the bullshit that's going with the politics, and
Yep.
they're trying to manipulate everything and everybody. Of course, you know that it's nothing new. But today, my dear friend, we're gonna talk about what is really happening in Israel and the difference between everything, you know?
Yes. And one of the presidents of the United States, Harry S. Truman, said one time the only thing that is new on the earth is all the history you don't know. That's the only thing that's really new is how much you don't know that's been on the been in history for forever and you didn't know it. That's the only thing that's really new. And
Well,
I think, yeah, I know what that's like. It sounds about right.
I
And
agree. Sorry, yes.
that's what I was just going to say. I'd like to just say, going out the gate, I don't wish to offend anybody. I'm a truth seeker. And I'm not the world's foremost authority on anything, but I've spent 60 years of my life studying the world of the occult. The word occult simply means hidden. It doesn't mean it's evil or bad, it just means hidden. So if you put your hand in your pocket, your hand is, according to the dictionary, an occult hand because it's hidden. And so that's what I have been interested in all of my life is uncovering all the deceptions and hidden words and terms and symbols and all the stuff that we've never been told before as humans. And believe me, the whole world has been hidden from you. Theologically and government, and commerce and business, military, the whole entire world is totally different than anything you've ever heard. And that's what I try and do is awaken people around the world to the real actual facts of life. And that's been very difficult because most people don't want to hear the truth. So that's what I do.
Now, dear Jordan, we are now. This is the first picture that you wanted to talk about. You wanted to. Here you have it. Okay, please.
As a teacher, so that if you're interested to know what's really going on, I'm interested to tell you. But you will find that the more I talk, the more you're going to find out how much you didn't know. It's an extraordinary story of how much we believe and we think we understand. And point of fact, it's not true at all. A classic example to start off with is the Wailing Wall, the wall in Jerusalem where the Jews go to pray. That Wailing Wall.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, but you know why the Judaism is taking this wall, because they say that this is a wall of the first or second temple.
I think Christianity was first, and then came Israel second, and then came Islam third. And the reason why is because if you go back to the first church in all of Israel, the first Christian church was found in Megiddo, in the area in Israel called Megiddo.
Yeah.
And it appeared in the news a couple of years ago that Israel, when digging a foundation to add on a whole new wing to a prison in Megiddo, that when they were digging down to put the foundations in for a new prison in Megiddo, they actually found the floor of an old church, a Christian church, and the advertisement in the paper and on the news said that the state of Israel stated that this church that was found in Megiddo is in no doubt of, there's no doubt about it. It has to be the oldest church ever on the earth. It's got to be the first and oldest church ever because of its date and time and where it was found in Israel. It's the oldest Christian church ever built. And so this is what America went along with, and England went along with it, and all over the world, people are saying, yep, it's the first Christian church. Well, I think the Christian church was here first. And then I think the coming of Israel was second. And then the coming of Islam third. And the reason why I think that's the case is because Christianity needed to have a firm foundation that they could point to as being legitimate. They have a legitimate reason for being on the earth, Christianity. And so they needed a legitimate platform. They need a legitimate beginning, a real beginning of their religion. And so if they presented themselves as the real beginning, nobody's going to buy into Christianity. But they needed to have a foundation that they could point to that gives them the legitimacy. They need a pedigree, so to speak. And so I think the Christian church came up with the idea that they came from a more ancient culture called Israel. And so the Israel got were God's chosen people, and then when Israel was was disassociated with God, that the Christian church came in and continued to be the chosen people of God instead of Israel. When in point of fact, I think what actually happened is that the Christian church needed some kind of a pedigree. They needed some kind of a foundation to point to show how legitimate they are, and they came up with this idea of ancient Israel. I particularly do not believe that there was an ancient Israel. I don't think ancient Israel ever existed. I think it was an idea that came up in the church. The church realized they needed to have a beginning somewhere, and they needed to have something very strong as a platform to build for. And so that's where we came up with the idea of an ancient Israel, from which Christianity continues to take up the priesthood of the ancient Israel.
Now
So
let's
I
go.
don't think there was an ancient Israel.
Yeah, I understand. Now let's go to the picture. We have the Temple Mount of Fort Antonia. Yes, we talk about it. And we go to the second one now. We go to Genesis and ancient Israel. Next picture. No, this one. We go. Yeah, I know. This one. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Now you're gonna see. This is one. Yeah, this is number one here. Okay, but let me move. Well, this is the two. Ah, okay, this is one. Ah, I understand, I understand, I understand. Let me take it from here. Okay, I'm sorry. Wait a second. Oh, there are more than one. Oh, I understand. I thought this is only one. Okay, okay. No problem. We go to the second one. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. I'm going there. I'm going there. No problem. No problem. Here I have it. Okay, now we're gonna have it. Don't worry. Wait a second. Okay. It's here, don't worry. It's here. I just downloaded it. Wait a second. Okay, technical things. Technical things. Just a second. Oh, here it is. Yeah. You're gonna see it. Don't worry. This is the one. Correct? Yeah, they see it big. Yeah. Yeah. Now you want me to put the other one of the five that you sent me before. Okay. Just a second. Now you're gonna see it. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
Now,
when you see, but the swastika,
yeah. Now you know that the name Nazi Nazi, it's Nazi, and of
yeah,
the Nazis, it's Nazi, not Nazi. You understand the difference of the language?
I understand. I'm just drawing your attention to the fact that NASI is connected to the swastika.
Yes. Yes. Okay. In this picture that we see. Yes.
Legitimate, real connection between the Jewish religion and the Nazi party. I know that
Okay.
people don't want to hear this. I know that people don't want to hear about this, but it's part of the actual facts of life and the facts of history.
Mm-hmm.
So the NASI and NAZI are one and the same. Go on the web and do some research yourself and
Mm-hmm.
look up the connection between NASI and NAZI, because I'm telling you this because so much has not been told to the Jewish people. No, this is a totally different picture. We're not talking about this right now.
Yes, I know. I don't show this. It's not on. It's not on. It's
It's
not.
not on this.
They
It's
are
not on this.
they are seeing
Okay.
us only.
Okay. So, what is there any other picture on that small group on the left?
Well, that's it. Those those were all. There were four, and we showed the four.
No, no. I'm talking about the pictures I just sent you just a
Yeah,
few
yeah, yeah,
minutes.
yeah. I know. The first one you sent me was alone one, and then another four. One about
Did we
Jen.
go through the other four?
Yeah.
Did we go through all those pictures on the left side I just sent you?
Well, there is only maybe one picture. Yes, there's only one picture of Jerusalem. Uh, Let me just open it for us and to let the people see that. Okay, this is the last
Yep.
one. That's the last one. Yeah.
Okay, look down toward the bottom. You'll see it on the bottom when it says
Yeah.
the
Nasi.
the yeah,
Okay.
Nazi, Nasi, means in Hebrew, Nazi means the president or the head of a government. And then the other picture we shown was the picture of a Nazi helmet, Nazi, Nazi helmet, but it was spelled Nasi, a Nazi helmet.
Hmm.
I'm making the point that the connection between Judaism and the Nazis and the German Nazi, there's a very definite connection between the two words and the two symbols and the two concepts. One is Jewish and one is German Nazi. And I am saying that there is a connection between Nazism and Judaism that the Jewish people have never been told. And I've been trying to get this out for people to understand. but the Jewish people have never been told about the connection between the Nazis and the Jewish religion.
Okay, now tell me, dear Jordan, if so, why the politically Nazism, okay? Let's say Hitler and all the Nazi
Elites.
elites, they uh, took 6 million Jewish and killed them. For what? If it's the same.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying that there is a very interesting and profoundly important connection between Nazism and Judaism that most people are not aware of.
Yeah.
And so this is what I'm trying to bring to the attention of the Israeli people. Look at the word on the website. It's NASI, which means a president or the head of a government is a Nazi. And yet, when you go to Nazi, NASI soldier, type in Nazi soldier,
Mm-hmm.
you will see the swastika on the helmet of a Nazi, NAZI. So I'm saying there's a connection here that Jewish people have never been told. Israel's never been told ever about the connection behind Adolf Hitler and the founding of the state of Israel. If you go on to Amazon.com, go to Amazon.com
Yeah.
and go to Amazon Books. Go to Amazon Books. And when you go to Amazon Books, you look up the book called Adolf Hitler, founder of the state of Israel. There's a book on Amazon.com. Go and buy it and go read it and buy it. It's called Adolf Hitler, founder of the state of Israel. Now, normally you would think that would be extremely controversial and very, very bad reviews.
I mean,
But actually,
Adolf Hitler.
and the founding of the state of Israel.
Okay.
It's not the nation of Israel, it's the state of Israel. Adolf Hitler and the founding of the state of Israel.
Okay.
And you would think that that book would be terrible, a horrible, terrible anti Semitic book. No, it's not anti Semitic at all. Read the reviews that that book has gotten from all over the world, from scientists and teachers and philosophers and highly educated people from universities have all thrown in their comments about that book, and the comments are overwhelmingly positive. Lots of people are saying this is an incredibly important book that most people have never heard of. It's called Adolf Hitler, the Nazis, and the Founding of the State of Israel.
Well,
So
let
look it up on the web and you will see it. Adolf Hitler, founder of the State of Israel.
let me tell you what I found. Okay. Let me tell you what I found, and you're gonna tell me uh, what do you think about it. Okay. This is the picture that I found.
That's it.
Is that
That's
the
the one.
is that the book?
That's the book. There it is.
Okay.
Adolf Hitler, founder of Israel.
Okay. So so
And look up on the web, uh,
so
Jewish, look up on the web the word, go to links, no, go to image where you
Hmm. Okay. Hmm.
Called Canaanites. Today we call the Phoenician Canaanites Hebrews. And so the Hebrews, we're told that the Jewish people speak Hebrew. And point of fact, there is no such a thing as a Hebrew language. It's a word that is used to denote a particular people. The people are called Hebrew, not the language. The language is a Phoenician language.
Hmm.
It's not nothing to do with being Jewish or Hebrew at all. The language that the Jewish people speak is a Phoenician language. Phoenicia gives us a word phonics and phony. Phony and phonics comes from Phoenicia. As I said, go to image on the computer and
Yeah,
type in Jewish swastika, and you will see that in the old synagogues there were swastikas on the floor and on the walls.
I understand.
It's be, it's
Now let me
because
let me just fix something here. Just a second. Just a second. Just a second. Just a second. Well, people said that when I show pictures that they cannot listen what we say. So I'm trying to fix that.
okay.
Okay, so just a second. Okay, now you talk.
Well, the point I was making is that the book is called Adolf Hitler, Founder of Israel.
Yeah.
And the point I'm making is that the symbol of the swastika is found in certain temples and synagogues in Israel. Today in Israel, certain synagogues still have swastikas in the synagogue. Why? Because the swastika is appropriate for the Jewish synagogue.
Mm.
Because when you understand what the swastika represents and why Adolf Hitler used the swastika, then you will understand why Israel uses the swastika also first. The Jews used the swastika, and then the Germans. The Germans picked it up from the Jews. So when you see the swastika, you think of that evil Nazi empire. Well, it's not evil Nazi. It was a Jewish symbol coming from the synagogues in Israel. A swastika is Israeli,
Mm.
and there's a reason for that. And I'll get into that too. The reason why there are swastikas in Israel synagogues is because one of the many gods that the Jews have worshiped. Right now, the God of the Jews today is the planet Saturn. But nobody has told the Jews that. Nobody has told the Jewish people that the state God of Israel is the planet Saturn. He's referred to as the Lord of the Rings. And this is why the Jews in Hollywood are making movies called Lord of the Rings. Because today, Lord of the Rings is the planet Saturn, and Saturn is the god of Judaism today. But nobody's being told that.
Yeah.
Except I'm trying to educate people to wake up and realize that Israel, the main god in Israel today, is the planet Saturn. And this is why Saturn is called, in the old Phoenician language, Saturn is called or spelled El.
Yeah.
El is Saturn.
El.
And go look it up in the dictionary. Look up El, the god El, and it will tell you God El
The god
is,
El. El.
yeah, El,
Okay.
E-L.
Okay.
The god El is Saturn.
Now,
And
dear Jordan.
therefore,
Now, dear Jordan, why you think that people, I mean, they're gonna ask themselves, why the German Nazism they they kill Jewish. I mean, if it's well, you know my question, yes?
I think I understand.
Yeah.
Well, here's the reason why the swastika was first used by the Jews. And then the Germans saw it, and the Germans picked it up, and then the Germans used it, and they called it the German swastika. No, it's the Jewish swastika. It was originally used in the synagogues in Israel. But why? Is because it represents the same thing. Both in Germany and in Israel, a swastika means the same thing.
Mm.
It goes back to the ancient sun god. And so today, let me explain to you. Today, we are told that you cannot use the name of God. And today is not good to use the name of God, because if you use it at all, you're using God's name in vain. And so we're not supposed to be able to use the name of God. You don't use his name. But in Israel, there is a name that you can use to represent the God of Israel. It's a substitute name that's all right for you to use, but it's not all right to use the original name of God. You can't use God's name,
Well,
but you
that's right.
can use this. But you can use the substitute name.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, the substitute name is called Tetragrammaton. Tetragrammaton is a name of God, or is the word for God, the God of Israel. You can't use his name, but you can, if you're referring to the God of Israel, you call him Tetragrammaton. Have
Okay.
you heard that term before?
Yes, of course.
Okay. So Tetragrammaton is always on the altars and all synagogues, always. Anywhere in the world you might go, to any country. If you go to a synagogue, you always see a sun, the S-U-N, with a sunburst, with
Now, now before
all
now
the
before we go forward,
uh-huh.
there are two questions here. The audience of Israel are asking. One is how a star can be a god.
Say it again.
How a star can be a god.
It can be a judge.
God.
Oh, and how a star can be a god?
Because you said that the Jewish, the Hebrews and the Jewish, they believe in a star, not in God.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is that the reason why the swastika is in a synagogue is because it means the sun.
The
That thing
sun.
which comes up in the morning called sun, that brings light into the world. It's the sun, and we call that big round globe that lights up the earth the sun. And that sun does not belong to anybody on the earth. It belongs to God. So it's God's sun. And God's sun is the light of the world. Of course, the sun lights the world. What else lights this world if it's not the sun? But there's only one sun. So that's why the Christians say God's son is the light of the world, but he is the only begotten son of God.
Yeah, but
Only
they
begotten
ask.
means we only have one.
Yes, I understand, but they ask about Saturn that you said about Saturn.
Yeah, well, that's Saturn is called in the Phoenician language, Saturn is referred to as El.
El,
El is Saturn.
El. Ah, okay.
Therefore,
אוקיי, let me say it in Hebrew. מה שג'ורדן מקסוול התכוון להגיד שבעצם העם העברי או עם ישראל בעצם סגד לאל, ובעצם אנחנו רואים את זה גם בכתובים, זאת אומרת שקוראים לו אל, אז הוא מתכוון בעצם לכוכב סאטרן. אוקיי, please, continue.
now this is why today Jews still go to the house of Saturn. Saturn is El, E-L. And El, therefore the house of El will be a temp El. So the Jews go to Temp El. All the Jews go to the Temp El. Temp El is the house of El, and El is the planet Saturn. So that's why the Jews go to Temp El on Saturn's day.
So this
It's
is
a
this is why they call it temple. I mean,
Temp-El. Yeah, Temp-El is house of El. And El is Saturn, so the Jews go to Temp-El. And Saturn is called the black sun. And the symbol for the black sun is the black square mortarboard that you wear in your head when you graduate from university. The black square is the symbol for the planet Saturn. It's an astrological symbol for the planet Saturn is a black square. And
yeah, but
that's
the
why
black, yeah, but the black square there is also in the Islam, in
that's what I
Mecca.
was about to say. I was
Yeah,
just about to say, but the black square is also in Islam.
yeah.
But the black square is actually a Roman symbol. A Roman symbol. It has nothing to do with Islam. It has nothing to do with Judaism. It has to do with the worship of the Roman god Saturn. And so the black square was what you wear on your head when you graduate from university. When you come out of college, you wear a black square. But the reason the point I want to make is that the reason why you have the swastika is because the swastika, the encyclopedias and the different reference work will tell you the reason you have a swastika is because it represents the sun. The
Yeah.
sun in the sky rolls across the sky. So the ancient people said the sun was round and it rolls like a ball. And so it's rolling across the sky. Every morning it starts its journey across the sky and it rolls around the sky until it ends up into the last hour of the day and it will die. So the sun was represented as a rolling ball, and that's what the swastika means. It's a cross. The round cross with the arms bent means that the sun is crawling across the sky. So the swastika represents the sun god. And that's why today in all synagogues you will see the name of God, which is all right to use. Judaism says okay to use the name that represents the Almighty God today. It's in all synagogues, it's inside of a sun. You always see the sunburst on the altar or somewhere in the synagogue. You will see a round sun with the sun rays, and inside of it you will have four letters referred to as the tetragrammaton.
Yeah.
Why does it call tetragrammaton? Because it's not the God's name. It's a name that is substituted for God's name. Tetragrammaton. Why do you call it tetragrammaton? Because tetra is four, gram is a letter like A, B, C, or D. A letter is a gram. That's why you have grammar or grammatical. So gram is a letter and tetra is four. Well, that's what you will see on the altar in the synagogue. A round sun burst with the sun rays, and inside the sun, you will see the four letters for the name of God. It's called tetragrammaton.
Hmm.
Why? Because tetra is four, gram is letter, and Aton is the sun god of Egypt. Look it up in the dictionary.
Hmm.
The sun god of Egypt is called Aton. So that's why you have a tetragrammaton. Tetragrammaton is tetragrammaton, the four letters for the Egyptian god of the sun. That's why tetragrammaton is always inside of a sun. And that's what the sun symbol, when it rolls across the sky, was a swastika. And that's why the swastikas in the Jewish synagogues, because it represents the Egyptian sun god, tetragrammaton.
Hmm.
And
Now,
so the Aton is the sun.
now there is a connection with the Anunnaki. Yes.
Yes, there is a definite connection, but we don't need to get into that right now.
Yes.
I'd like to start with the picture on the long list, the first list I sent to you a couple of days ago.
Yes.
The first picture, and we'll go through each one.
Okay, I'm gonna show you. We go to the first one. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So we've already, that's the last one. Go to the
Okay.
first one.
That's the first. Yes.
First picture. That's the very last picture in the
Oh, that's the
list.
last one.
That's the last picture. No, that's the last picture. Go to that list. That's the first one. There it is. That's the first picture.
There
Now,
it
can we
is.
go through that list one at a time?
Yes.
Okay. Here's the point I'm making on this subject. As I've said so many times, the Jewish people, like everybody else, has not been told the real truth about the origins of their religion, the origins of their culture, or the origins of their country. They have not been told the truth about anything. And that's why today there's so much trouble in Israel, because it's about time the truth begins to come out now. And now we're going to begin to see the real, legitimate truth about who Israel was and who it is and where it came from and where it's going. And that's why Israel is now in trouble, because because they have not been told the truth in their religion. They haven't been told the truth in their government. The Jewish people have not been told the truth about anything,
Mm-hmm.
period, zero. But that's all right. Neither have the Christians nor the Islamic Mohammedans. They haven't been told anything either. And they're equally as ill informed and unread. I'm trying to wake everybody up to the fact that there's a whole world of knowledge about the ancient world you've never been told before. And that's why we're having trouble today in Israel, all over the Middle East, and all over the world, is because the truth is coming out. And believe me, you better be ready for it. Because, like the motion picture, the movie said, you can't handle the truth.
Mm.
Well, I think that's probably true. Most people can't handle the truth.
So
It's called.
what we are seeing now in this picture?
So now what we're looking at, what the Jews forgot to tell you, what the powers that be forgot to tell the Jews was about the Ark of the Covenant. This is supposedly the Jewish Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next point two.
Yeah.
That part two? Yes. Okay, now Smith's Bible Dictionary says, first of all, the very word ark, the Ark of the Covenant, is an Egyptian word and not Hebrew at all. Ark is an Egyptian and not Jewish, period. And there is a picture in the Smith's Bible Dictionary. Look up the word ark, and you will see there's an Egyptian ark, not a Hebrew ark. Go to the next one. There it is again. Another Bible dictionary, and another Bible dictionary says the same thing. The very word ark goes back to the Egyptian ark,
Yeah.
not the Hebrew ark. Okay?
Yeah. Next.
So let's go to the next. So there is the Ark of the Covenant, the Egyptian Ark of the Covenant, not the Hebrew, because there in fact was no Hebrew Ark ever existed. That's why today no one can find it. No one can find the ark, no one has found it, and no one will find it because it never was a Hebrew ark to start with. That's why you can't produce it and can't show it to people because it never existed to start with. But you can go to the Cairo Museum in Cairo and see the Egyptian Ark of the Covenant, the Egyptian Ark of the Contract. And a contract is a covenant. So the Jews call it the Ark of the Covenant. No, it's the Ark of the Contract. It's an Egyptian Ark, not a Hebrew. Go to
Mm-hmm.
the next one, the next picture. There is the picture of, you'll see the Egyptians, and they're carrying the Holy Ark. You see it?
Yeah.
That's not Hebrews or Jews. In Egypt. And
Mm-hmm.
I will call your attention to the fact that this is an Egyptian ark being carried and a sacred ark in Egypt. The next picture. And tells you all about the ark, what it means and where it came from and what the word means. And it goes back to the Latin ark. It's a chest or a box, and it's always used in the ancient religions of throughout the world. There have been many different ancient religions who have had their holy ark, not the Hebrews,
Mm-hmm.
but different major religions in the world. They've had sacred chests and sacred ark,
Well,
the
let me
ark of the
explain. Let me, dear Jordan, let me explain it in Hebrew because not everybody knows English. Now, מה שבעצם ג'ורדן מקסוול חוקר כבר, חברים, שנים על גבי שנים, הוא בעצם אומר ומראה הוכחות שארון הברית בעצם, שבני ישראל נכסו אותו לעצמם, זה בעצם ארון מצרי, ולא דווקא של עם ישראל. We continue.
Okay. Next picture.
Next one.
There it is. So it shows you the old Ark of the Covenant for the Jewish Ark of the Covenant. But 500 to 1,000 years before the Jews had an Ark of the Covenant, there was the Egyptian Ark of the Covenant.
Mm,
The Egyptian had their ark first. So the
yeah.
whole idea of the Holy Ark of Israel was borrowed directly from the ancient Egyptian. Period.
Next one.
Yep. There it is again, showing you on the left-hand side the Hebrew Ark of the Covenant. But on the right side, you'll see the original ark is an Egyptian ark. There
Yeah.
was, in point of fact, no Hebrew ark. The idea was borrowed from the Egyptians. The only legitimate ark that ever existed is an Egyptian ark that was found in the in the burial tomb of King Tutankhamun. They found the lost ark in the burial tomb of King Tut,
Hmm.
but not Hebrew. And this is why today, all over the world, you cannot find the Hebrew Ark of the Covenant. I think that's very interesting. Why? Because it never existed. There it is again.
Mm-hmm.
The ark in the Egyptians, not the Hebrews. That's the point I'm making, that there was no Hebrew. That's a classic picture right there. Look at that picture well. It says, here is a picture of the original Holy Ark on the wall of an Egyptian temple. Notice that it is in Egypt, not in the Hollywood Holy Land. The Hollywood makes all these wonderful movies about the Holy Land and the Ark of the Covenant and all of this stuff. It's all Hollywood. It's
Hmm.
all Hollywood nonsense. There was no Holy Ark in Israel ever. There was
So
only a holy ark in Egypt.
so here people in Israel, there is someone named Lior Ben Shimon. He is asking, so can you explain who is God and from what star and who are we? I mean, who are we, the people?
Yeah, I know. That's a very important question, a very good question, because that's why I said the Jewish people have not been told the truth about their history. Their
Hmm.
history. And the German people have not been told about their history. And why is it that German people and the Hebrew people, the Jews and the Germans, are so well connected behind the scenes? That's why you have so many actual Germans who claim to be Jewish, the Henry Kissingers of the world. They claim to be Jewish when in point of fact they're not Jewish, they're Germans.
Yeah,
They came from Berlin. They're not Jewish. They're not from Israel. Why? Because there was no ancient Israel. They're not from Israel because they're from Germany. And that's why Hitler was from Germany. And that's why he set up what we call the State of Israel.
so who are we? Who are the Israeli people? I mean, who are we?
You are what they call Phoenicians. You are a Phoenician people. The Hebrew, so that's why there is no such a thing as a Hebrew language. Hebrew is not a language, but the people are called Hebrews. It goes back to the word, to a word in ancient Egyptian Iberus. Iberus became Hebrews or Hebrew. But Hebrews were a people, not a language. There is no such language as Hebrew. There is a Phoenician Canaanite language. In the area we call Israel today, that was called the land of Canaan. The land of Canaan is what we call Israel today. And the land of Canaan was inhabited by people called Canaanites. And so the Canaanites lived in Canaan, the land of Canaan. And so it's a Phoenician language, a Phoenician people. And so the Hebrews today are Phoenician people coming from the land of Canaan. And land of Canaan was today what we call Israel. Most Jews do not know that they were actually Phoenicians. But what's interesting is that the Phoenicians spoke a particular language called Phoenician. It was a Phoenician Canaanite language.
That's the one.
But
That's the
today,
page.
but today, but today, the Hebrews are a particular people. Hebrews are from Phoenicia and Canaan, and so the Hebrews are Phoenician Canaanites,
Do you see
and so
the
that's
page? Do you see the page that I put?
yep, and there it is, Phoenicia,
Yeah.
and Phoenicia is what we call today Israel.
Yeah. It says here. Yeah. It says here that scholars generally agree that it was centered on the coastal areas of modern day Lebanon and including part of what are now northern Israel and South Syria.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that Israel today is actually the old Phoenician Canaan, the land of Canaan, as in the Bible. It talks about the land of Canaan. The land of Canaan is what we call Israel.
Hmm.
And so this is what I'm doing with this show. What I want to do with this show is I just want to bring up all the little facts and thoughts and ideas that have been hidden from the people
Hmm.
and show that there was no Hebrew ark at all. It never existed, and that's why you can't find it today. All kinds of people out wasting their time and money and effort looking for the lost ark, but they don't know there was no lost ark in Israel.
Mm.
Israel never had an Ark of the Covenant. Now go back one picture backwards.
Now, people asking here if the Hebrew, the language Hebrew, is the Canaan from Canaan language.
From the what language?
Uh, Canaan. How you say Canaan? Oh, I forgot. Just now we said it in English. Um, Canaan. Canaan
Oh yeah, Canaan. Yeah.
is the
The,
Hebrew language. Is the agent Canaan?
yeah, the language of Canaan was Phoenician. The bloodline of the people who lived in the land of Canaan, or today Israel, were called Phoenician people. And Phoenicia was the land of Canaan. And so the land of Canaan is Israel today.
Mm,
Today, if you live in Israel, you're living in the land of Canaan. And so therefore, you're not Israeli, you're not Jewish, you are Canaanites.
mm,
You're living in the land of Canaan.
mm,
But the language that the people of Canaan spoke was not Hebrew. The people took on the name in history. The people of Canaan became known as Hebrew. It goes back to an old ancient word, Iberu. Iberu or Hebrew. Hebrew. And
mm,
so the Hebrew people spoke the language of Canaan, which is Phoenician.
mm,
So I'm saying over and over, there is no such a thing as a Hebrew language. The people are Hebrew, but the language is Phoenicia Cana, a Canaanite language called Phoenician. So that's when you hear Jews speaking in their tongue, they're not speaking Hebrew, they're speaking Phoenician. But we people and the rest of the world who are equally as ignorant and equally as stupid, we say that the Jews are speaking Hebrew.
Hebrew.
No, they're not speaking Hebrew. They are Hebrew, but they're speaking Phoenician Cana. It's like here in the United States. Here in the United States, we speak American. No, you don't speak American. You are American, but you speak English.
Mm,
So you don't say that you are speaking American. You're speaking English, but you are American. So the same thing in Israel. You are not Jewish. You are Phoenician Canaanite, but you call yourself Hebrew.
mm.
But Hebrew is not the language. Hebrew is the people.
Now, what
And
language? What language we talk, the Israeli people, in the ancient Egypt?
well, many, many years ago, the language became known as the Phoenician Canaanite language.
Phoenician
And
Canaanite.
today, that's what the Hebrew people speak is Phoenician Canaanite. And that's why I say there is no Hebrew language. There's a Phoenician language that the Hebrews speak. And so when you hear that, there's so many different things I need to talk about. We could spend hours on one subject.
Well,
But
you and me, we spend hours talking, but now
yeah,
we open it for the audience, yes, because they don't know that I
all
talk
right.
with.
But you need to go back on this picture. The picture's out there now. You need to go backwards, one or two,
Yes, I'm
because
going.
we've missed a couple of pictures. Go backwards. Okay, go forward one more time. No, no, no. Keep going forward. One more. Keep going. There.
Okay.
Remember in the movie Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Yeah.
Did you ever see the movie Indiana Jones and Raiders of
Yes.
the Lost
Of
Ark?
course. Harrison Ford.
Well, Steven Spielberg was a lot of things, but stupid is not one of them. He's very highly intelligent, Steven Spielberg. And I've been to his studio. I've been to his research department. I've lived in Hollywood for years, and I even know his head of research, the lady who heads his research department for his movies.
Yeah.
And she has told me, she says Steven Spielberg is a very, very particular person who wants whatever he puts in his movies, he has to have it absolutely correct. He does not want anybody finding fault with his movies because it was wrong. Whatever he puts in his movies, he wants to make sure it's absolutely correct. And so in the movie Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, he's looking for the Ark of the Covenant for the Hebrews. Well, as I said, there was no Ark of the Covenant for the Hebrews, but he's looking for the Ark. And so where does he go first? Where
Egypt.
does Indiana Jones go first? He goes to Nepal,
Oh,
India,
Nepal. Correct. In India.
right? And then after Nepal, he finds what he's looking for. Now he goes to find the lost Ark of the Covenant. And now where does he go? To the Holy Land? No, he doesn't go to the Holy Land. Well, where does he go? Did he
I-
find the Ark? Yeah, he found the Ark. But where was it?
in
It
Egypt.
was in an Egyptian temple
Correct.
in Egypt, not in the Holy Land. Nothing to do with the Jewish people or Islam, or nothing to do with the Jewish or Hebrew people at all. Indiana Jones finds a lost Ark of the Covenant in Egypt because it's not the Ark of the Covenant, it's the lost Ark of the contract. It's an Egyptian symbol. It has nothing to do with Israel at all. So that's why I'm saying there are people who are wasting their time and their energy and their money going out and trying to find the lost Ark of the Covenant. They have not found the lost Ark of the Covenant. They are not going to find the Ark of the Covenant because it never existed. But there was an Ark of the contract in Egypt. So that's where Indiana Jones went to find the lost Ark. It's in Egypt. Why? Because it has nothing to do with Judaism at all. There was no Ark of the Covenant. There is no holy Ark of the Covenant in Israel. It never existed.
Now, people here asking, okay, if the Canaan people talk one language and the Egyptians talk another language, how they communicated?
Well, people have always been able to do something about that. If the Germans speak German, how did all the other people in Europe communicate with them? Well, other people learn their language and they explain their language and you can learn their language. So, how did the Egyptians, how did the Phoenician Canaanites learn the language of Egypt? I don't know. How do we do it today? You can go to university and study the different languages of the people. That's easy to do. There are ways of learning. Now, that's the picture I wanted to show right there.
Yeah.
Here is Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark. And where does it look like he is? He's in an Egyptian tomb. And you see the arrow pointing to the obelisk,
Yeah, the
and see
obelisk.
the god behind him on the wall. That's Egyptian. He's inside an Egyptian tomb. Indiana Jones with the lost Ark of the Covenant.
Mm.
So the point I'm making is that the lost Ark, there it is. Go back to that picture. There it is. Indiana Jones finds a lost Ark. Go back to it. There it is. Leave it there. Indiana Jones finds a lost ark in Egypt.
Mm.
And for the last time, that's what I'm trying to tell the Jewish people, that there was, in fact, no such a thing, no historical Ark of the Covenant ever existed. There was no Ark of the Covenant.
I think we
That's why,
understand that. We
yeah, okay,
understand that. Yeah.
that's why it doesn't exist today.
Okay, let's go forward.
And now this is the typical picture of bowing down, worshiping idols, worshiping the Lord, worshiping the Ark of the Covenant, the Islamics bowing down, worshiping the sun god or the moon god. There's people on the bottom left, which are all naked, bowing down, worshiping. And then you see on the bottom right, Christians worshiping the idol of God's Son, the light of the world. He is our risen Savior. I'm just making the point that people all over the world are bowing down and worshiping things that they have no idea in the world where any of this comes from, what it means, and where it came from, and what the words and symbols mean. And so the etymology of their symbols and their words and their belief systems, people do not understand what they're doing. They're all being led by the nose to bow down and worship false idols, wooden statues, trees, and boxes, and God knows everything else.
Now there is another
So now
question.
the next, one more subject. Well, I don't know how much time we got.
Well, listen. The next question that people are asking here is what was in the coven? I mean, there was an atomic or something, or in some device, or because they said in the history of the Judaism that every person that came near, they died.
Yeah.
I mean, is there is something that
No,
stay
that's just part of the story. That's part of the story.
if there is
It
some
doesn't mean anything. If there was no, in fact, Ark of the Covenant to start with, it never existed, then the story about people dying when they touch it was just part of the story. How could they die touching something that didn't exist to start with?
Hmm.
How did they die touching something that it was never there to begin with?
So this is
It's
another
just,
system to make fear to the people.
say it again.
This is another system to make people be afraid.
Well, I would be a bit surprised. That's what religion's supposed to do. It's supposed to make you afraid.
Yeah. Well, let's go forward. Moses with
Okay.
horns.
Yeah, Moses. The next subject I want to do tell the people is that Moses. Why is it? The question is why every time you see Moses, he has horns.
Hmm.
Go to the next picture. There is Moses. You'll see Moses on the left on the column with his horns, and Moses on the right with horns.
Yeah.
In the next picture, there's Moses, the statue of Moses with horns.
Yeah.
Why does Moses have horns like the devil?
Why?
That's interesting. Keep going, and I'll show you. Moses always had horns. There are pictures in Judaism and in the churches where Moses always had horns.
Yeah.
Keep going to the next one. Okay, I think that's a good picture on the top right, showing Moses with red horns. Beneath him, Moses with horns.
Hmm.
Okay, go to the next picture. Everywhere you will see Moses, he always has horns.
Yeah.
If it's in a statue or a painting or a picture, Moses has horns. Where did those horns, what do the horns mean? I know what the rabbis will tell you it means, but it's not true. Rabbis will tell you is that, see, there's Moses getting the Ten Commandments and he's wearing horns. Why does Moses have horns?
Why?
It's because Moses never lived. There was no such a man named Moses who ever lived. Moses was just a name of a moon god. He was a worshiper of a lunar god. And it's like today, like we have Jesus today, where when the Christians worship, well, there was no Jesus. Jesus never existed. He was the Son, God's Son, the light of the world. He was a sun
Saturn?
god.
Saturn?
Saturn was the god of the Hebrews today.
Yeah.
But a long time ago, in Phoenicia, Cana, or what we call the Phoenician Canaanites, the land of Cana, the, Can- the Canaanites worshipped an Arabic moon god.
Hmm.
The Arabic moon god, and so the horns of Moses. Go to the next picture. You'll see what the horns of Moses. The horns of Moses is the lunar horns, when the moon is in the lower quarter, it looks like horns.
Yeah.
And so that's why it was called the lunar horns. The horns of the moon is why Moses wears horns, because Moses was the name given to the leadership of a lunar cult, the worshippers of the moon. And the worshippers of the moon god, who was the leader of the lunar cult. Today, Jews still have a lunar calendar.
Yeah.
They still have a moon worship. They still, the moon in the lower quarter gives you the horns of the bull. And so this is why you have the lunar horns. And
So let's.
Moses was the leader of a lunar religion. He worshiped the moon. And the Jews worshiped the moon too. They have their holy days after sundown. Why does Israel still have holy days after sundown, after 6 o'clock? Why? Because that's when the moon comes out, is after 6 o'clock. So that's why they have the holy days after sundown,
Let me
when
say
the
it in
moon
Hebrew.
comes
Let me
out.
say it in Hebrew. מה שבעצם ג'ורדן מקסוול אומר, שגם החגים אפילו, והמועדים של עם ישראל, שהיום אנחנו חוגגים אותם, או מאז ומעולם חגגו אותם, זה היה באמת כשבעצם יורד השמש, זאת אומרת, מתחיל הירח. לונה בלטינית זה ירח, זה מון. אוקיי, פליז.
Yep. So that's where we get Moses had horns, because in point of fact, historically speaking, there was no Moses. Moses never existed. It's just a name that was given to the leader of the worshippers of the moon. Moses was an Egyptian word for the leader of the moon cult.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking about Moses being the great lawgiver, there was no Moses. He never existed. We've been told a lie. There was no Moses. There was the worshiper of the moon. And the worshippers of the moon were being led by a god they called Moses. So today, don't look for Moses to do anything, because Moses never lived. There was no such man named Moses.
Well, if you look for Moses, look for horns.
Yeah,
Now,
look for the horns.
now, dear Jordan, tell me. So, we, the Israeli people today, we have to live here in Israel? I mean, this is our land. This is our. This is the place that we should be.
Yeah. So what?
No, I
What
ask
about?
if.
Well, what about the Americans? This is our land. This is where we live. And we're all caught up in the Catholic Church and Protestant Church and the Baptist Church and all the different churches in America. That's all we got here is a bunch of churches. And the churches are just nothing more than organizations to make money. That's why the different churches are called, we have different churches. They are all called denominations. That's what you call the money. 50s and 20s and $5 bills and 10s are denominations. That's why the churches in America are all the different denominations. Because just like you, we have our country and we're living with all the lies and deception. And we believe that the Catholic Church is founded by God and that Jesus is our Savior and all of that. And that's why the Jews say, no, Jesus is nothing more than a bunch of bull. Doesn't exist. Well, that's true. Jesus never existed. So therefore, we can't depend on Jesus to come back and save us, because it's very difficult to make a big comeback if you've never been anywhere to start with.
Yeah.
And so Jesus was never here, so we know he's not coming back because he was never here to start with.
So
Well,
in the Jewish Bible, it's written also in the Christian, yes, that there is a Messiah that have to come here to the land. You know, what is this Messiah?
Messiah comes from the whole idea of Messiah as an Egyptian idea. It was born and raised in Egypt. It's an Egyptian word. It comes from the Egyptian religion. There was no Jewish Messiah. There was no Hebrew Messiah. There was an Egyptian Messiah. And so it's an Egyptian word. It has nothing to do with Judaism or Jews at all. And that's a whole nother subject we will talk about another time. The next time we'll have more pictures and more stuff we can talk about Messiah next time. And there are quite literally hundreds of different subjects about things that the Jews believe and the Jews accept as truth that are just not true. And I think that that's what's happening today in the world and in the Middle East is that all these lies and deceptions are starting to break down, and the people are looking for the truth. They want to know what's really going on and where their government come from and what's really happening. They're not aware that the swastikas came from Israel. The Nazis had swastikas because the Jews were worshiping the same sun god as the Germans. Tetragram Aton. The Aton, look it up in the dictionary, is a sun god.
Mm-hmm.
So the Jews are worshiping the old ancient Egyptian sun god Aton. And so that's why in all the synagogues you will have a sunburst on the altar, you'll see the sunburst, and inside the sunburst are four letters, Tetragrammaton, the symbol for the sun god of Egypt. That's what the god that is now being promoted in the synagogue, the old ancient Egyptian sun god.
So there is
But
here a
that's,
last question.
yeah,
Adi, a woman named Adi, she asked, so for what was the kaftan, okay, to the Egypts? I mean, for what they use it? Because you can see in the pictures they carry it.
for what was the custom of what?
The kaftan of the um, oh my God, of the ark.
Oh, the ark? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. The ark was called, yeah, the ark.
For
There it
what
is. Yeah.
it was used?
It was used in Egypt to
Yes.
hold sacred objects of Pharaoh Akhenaten and King Tutankhamun. King Tut and his father Pharaoh Akhenaten had sacred objects, just like any other religion had sacred objects, but they put,
What does those secrets objects? I mean, what are they?
well, if you go back to the old reference works, it was symbolic of I don't recall exactly what was in the actual tomb when they opened up the King Tut's tomb. Uh, what was the English, the British statesmen who financed the excavation of King Tut's tomb? I know what was said to be in the Ark of the Covenant. The Ark of
Mm-hmm.
the Covenant supposedly was the where we get the word pot for marijuana.
Oh,
Yeah, and so in the Ark of the Covenant, according to the Bible, we had something called marijuana. It was in a pot, and that's why today we call marijuana pot
mm,
because it was and that's in the Bible. If you go back to the New Testament, and the last book of the Bible is in the New Testament is called the Book of Revelation.
yeah.
And in the book of Revelation, it says in the book of Revelation, it actually says that God took the Ark of the Covenant to heaven. He he took it away from the Jews and took it into heaven. So that's why today people are looking for the lost ark because they're too ignorant to not look at the book of Revelation. Said God took the ark of the covenant to heaven. So you're not going to find it unless you want to die and go to heaven. Then you can find the lost ark because that's what the Bible said. God took the lost ark to heaven. Well, that may be explaining why you can look for the ark on the earth all you want. You're not going to find it because the book of Revelation says it's up in heaven. And then it tells you what was inside the book, in the book of Revelation, what is inside of the ark. It said that what was it? The stuff that God was feeding the Israelites in the beginning with What was the stuff that God fed the Israelites with?
When they go in 40 years in Egypt.
Yeah, but what was it that they were hungry and they told
Yeah,
God that they were hungry?
yeah, it was man.
And that's it,
It's
manna from heaven. I'm
yeah.
getting old, 80 years old. I've been talking for 60 years. I'm getting old and tired and I can't think very well.
Well,
But it was manna from heaven. Yeah.
yeah.
And
So, but there is a reason to listen to the Bible. I mean, if all the religions are bullshit, I'm sorry, okay, and it's a big lie. Why we should read and believe what we read in those Bibles? For what?
because that's the way you were raised. When you came into the world, you were a baby.
Yeah,
You were a baby. You didn't know any different. So your adults were telling you what to think and what to read and how to act and what to do and what not to do. And as a baby, you didn't know. So you just know what you've been told to do. I'm going to have to go because I have another radio show to do.
yes,
But let's just
I know, Jordan, I know. So,
okay.
well, let me thank you very much. And of course, we're gonna the next Saturday we're gonna do the same in the same hour. We're gonna have another show, part number 2, okay, of it.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I send you a big shalom from Israel, my dear friend.
Okay.
And of course, we do everything that we do from love of people.
Yep. For the love of people, right? I want the Jewish people to be aware of all that they have not been told, because
Okay.
I care about the people. I want people to know where their belief systems have come from, where the government has come from, where their banks have come from, where the military. I want people to understand the world they live in. And I want to thank you for having me on the show. Well, let's talk again next week.
You are my dear friend, you know that.
Okay. Good night.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.